All right, so we are recording. Hello, everybody. Welcome to High5 Live. We're going to go live on Facebook, so give us just a sec here. Maybe. That's unusual. There we go.
Are we streaming live?
We are streaming live.
Streaming. There we are. Yay.
All right, I got to find you back. There we go. One of these days I will master how to do this a little bit more savvy, but you know what? As long as we get there, it's all good. All right. Hello, hello. And I'm just going to pull this up on Facebook as well so I can see us and watch our comments. There we are. Yay. All right. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to this month's High5 Live. You know, Kev, one of the things that I love is there was a time in my life, if I was that discombobulated, getting everything all set up and doing that, that would have really bothered me. But it's really not a big deal, is it?
Not anymore.
It is not a big deal. So for those of you joining us out in Facebook land, thank you very much. We're excited to have you here tonight, and we'll give everybody a minute or two here to just hop on. It looks like we got some folks joining us, and I know there's a little bit of a delay in that. So let's see here. Go to see my comments. And if you are on, oh, there we go. If you are on our Facebook Live, it looks like we got some folks joining us. And that's me. And it just gets better. And that was me coming through on the Facebook Live. Hey, Steve, Emily. Wow.
Fantastic. Wow. A Steve Emily sighting.
And Christine Gardner. William Toadvine's watching. Awesome. Very, very, very cool. Excited. Anybody else that's out there, just give us a hi and let us know you're here. And maybe give us a heart or two, because, you know, it is all about love. And we're going to jump in tonight and talk about our topic. And it is a topic that we are all, oh, awesome. Krista Holling just joined us here. A topic that we all are confronted with, and that is, how do we stay positive in a negative environment? Because once you start to understand that it's okay to be positive, and you go back and you put on your happy face, not everybody's happy to see your happy face. And so how do we handle that? What are some things that we can do? So excited about having this discussion tonight, whether you're live with us here, Krista, glad to have you on our webinar, or you're live with us on Facebook. Use that chat, let's talk, and make it as interactive as possible, because that's what makes it fun. Esther, hello, Christy Toadvine, awesome.
Yolanda.
Oh,
nice.
Beautiful. So many friends. All right, so I'm going to move us ahead here. So I already talked about, that's what our topic is, how to stay positive in that negative environment. And some people would even say a negative world. But you know what? That's why we're here. We're shifting that and focusing on what's positive. I found this quote and I absolutely loved it and thought it was a great way to kick off tonight's topic. An entire sea of water can't sink a ship unless it gets inside the ship. So now we can apply that, right? Similarly, the negativity of the world can't put you down unless you allow it to get inside you. So we got to protect this, and there's some certain things that we can do to make that happen. So let's talk about what some of those are. So first thing though, we are going to do a little bit of a survey, and Kevin, I do have the poll open, so you can pull that up for our folks that are joining us here. And for those of you out in Facebook land, I just want to know, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much negativity do you encounter every day? And I also know I got a little bit of a delay between my live and Facebook, so I'll give you a second to catch up. How much negativity on a scale of 1 to 10? So 1 is just a little, 10 is way too much, way too much. So what kind of negativity are you facing in your life? Give me an answer. We got a 10 there. 7.
I think it's safe to assume that it's at the 7 to 10 end of the scale.
At the high end. All right, I'm just going to get rid of this poll. Looks like, there we go. And yeah, so can we just say a lot?
Yeah.
We can agree on a lot. So what can we do about it? That is the question tonight. So before I get started, I would love to hear from you guys about any techniques or things that you do to combat a negative environment. What are some of the favorite things that you do? And just throw those in our chat or on Facebook in the comments. What are some of the things you do to offset or deal with a negative environment? Now you'll see I underlined a very specific word on the screen. What can we do? And some of you will call me out for using powerless words. What will we do? But it's all about focusing on what we can do or what we will do versus what we can't do. So that's the important thing, is to remember it's about what can I control, what are the things that are within my power that I can do, versus worrying about all that stuff out there that we can't take care of. And we'll talk a little bit more about that tonight.
So while we're waiting for their responses, Barb, I just want to say something about that, about context, right? Yeah. So the word can, while in class we talk about it as a statement of potential, we know we all can do that. But in this context, it's really about what are my potential options, right? So I've got all these options. Doesn't mean I'm going to use all these different options, but these are what are available to me. So certain words, with the exception of the T word, I guess, are, when you use them contextually, they do have a place. So remember that if you're out there being the powerless words police to the people in your life, let them finish talking so that you can hear the context of what they're saying before you just jump in and correct them on their use of powerless words. So in this case, can is absolutely the right word to use.
It is, and for exactly what we're talking about. We got a couple great answers on what do we do. Steve, Emily, focus on my outcome. You're going to see that pop up on my list here. And Christine, be a duck. Let it roll off. Yeah, you don't need to hold on to that stuff. And think of the things I'm grateful for. Yeah, you guys are nailing it already. Not a surprise, but let's jump in and talk about those 10 things. And I like to do it my way, which is the David Letterman way. Okay, it really wasn't my way, but that's okay. And we're going to start with number 10. And number 10 is actually one of my favorites, which is control the amount of negative that you actually let into your life. And I will tell you, for me, this was a turning point. Now, I've gone a little bit to the extreme. It works for me. It may not work for you. I don't watch TV. I certainly don't watch the news. I don't read a newspaper. Now, does that mean I don't know what's going on in the world? No. If it's really important, it's going to show up on my Facebook feed, or somebody's going to tell me. I have proven that because it's been probably about 8 years now that I haven't watched television. I'm not saying that all television is bad. I'm just saying control what you let into your life. Because if you start your day with all of the bad news, there's no wonder that you're already in some negativity. So television, news, social media. It may be time to call the people in your feed, right? That you don't want to see their posts. If they're not bringing value to you and bringing positive, are they somebody that you want to see? Control the amount of negative people in your life. When you actually have control over that, make a choice whether you want that person in your life or not. I put video games on here only for the fact that in some cases, even those are extremely negative with the violence and some of the things that are in them. And it can be music. There's all of these things that can be both positive and can be negative. So what are you filling yourself with? Because if we do that, if we have our own environment, or we are creating that in our homes or at our offices, whatever it is, that creates some challenges. So if any of you have any ideas around this, and I noticed that Anthony just joined us, and Tim, and I know Anthony instituted, after he came through the Evolve class, no phones over dinner. All of the people in his household, there's a box where they put their phones. So they turn that stuff off so that they can connect, and now we don't have any of that distracting what we are creating in that environment. So a little high five for you, Anthony, for that idea.
Yeah, this is a great example, Barb, of addition by subtraction, right? Sometimes the way to improve is to get rid of as opposed to adding more.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And anything that you guys have some input on this, just put it in the comments, and we'll make sure that we talk about it. And especially if you have questions or you disagree, that's okay. Would love to know what you think about those things, and if it's something that you do at this point, or if it's something that you will do moving forward. All right, so that is number 10. Moving on to number 9. But after I put this picture up, it kind of looked like a steak with some mustard on it. But celebrate the.
It's like a donut with a handle to me, anyway.
Yes, it would, wouldn't it? Clearly, I'm on a keto diet. Celebrate the chance to practice positive. And while it sounds absolutely nutty sometimes to appreciate the negative people in your life, when we'll talk, right? Anytime negative shows up, positive is available. Oh, I'm glad to hear that, Anthony. And so when those negative people show up, it gives you a chance to build some positive muscle in your life and practice being positive with them. So don't go join their negative conversation. Don't go join their pity party or whatever it is that's going on. How can you practice being positive? Caitlin, thank you for joining us. And this is one that it takes time and it takes practice, right? So I talk a lot about the fact that leadership is a practice. And you will find that your programming, the way that you've shown up in the world for a long time, when you get around, especially if you get around some negative people that have been negative your whole life, it's sometimes easy to fall back into old patterns with them. So before, especially if you know that you're going into one of those environments, set an outcome for yourself to practice being positive, to find the positive, to help reframe. And you can do that without them even knowing you're doing it. You can steer the conversation in a different direction. And if you can't, then again, that's one of those choices you get to make. But it's fun when you are conscious about what's going on and you're making the choice to be positive. It can be really fun. It can also annoy the crap out of people, and that's okay. It's okay to have gone to happy camp. It really is. All right, number 8. Number 8, go outside. Get into nature. Go for a walk. So if the environment that you're in is so negative, and clearly that's not always going to be an option for you, I get that. But when it is, get out of it. And the best place to reconnect to positive is in nature, in what's natural. Play with the puppy. You can't stay negative with the puppy, or take the puppy for a walk, or rent a puppy, whatever it is. But do some things that shift that energy that you were just in. Now, again, sometimes you're in that negative environment and you got to be able to deal with it. So we'll keep talking about that. But one of my favorite things, and I know personally, and y'all probably get annoyed at my Facebook Lives from the beach, but I do that specifically because that keeps me grounded in focusing on all of the good and what I want. So that's number 8. Number 8.
So, Barb, something that I believe that I read, I was just looking to see if I could find the article, but they believe that increase in vitamin D actually does have an effect on your endorphins and does have an effect on happiness. So going outside, just literally going out and getting in the sun, can physically, has a physiological effect on your body. So absolutely.
Yeah, and if some of y'all need some sun, I got a guest room, and you're welcome to come visit me in Southern California, because we got sun. That's true. Yeah. Okay. After Kevin leaves, I got a guest room.
Why do all your numbers look like donuts?
Somebody must be hungry. All right. Hey, Crystal, welcome. All right, let's go to number 7. 777, actually. Practice compassion. Wow. So this is one that when I first started to become positive, because I was negative as negative can be, that was really super important for me, because I would really I would just get annoyed with people. And when I learned to recognize that they don't know what they don't know, it helped a lot. And also when I learned and realized that we're all programmed different, right? So Kevin and I are programmed completely different, as are all of the people that are watching and on Facebook. Everybody, we're all programmed different. So we all see it differently. And it's not that you see it differently to annoy me. You just see it different. And one of the things that we run up against, for all of you that are graduates, and most of the folks on this call are graduates, is you're like, but they do know better, Barb. They do know. They were at the class, or they've had this as well. You know what? In that moment, they are not connecting. In that moment, they still don't know what they don't know. Or they've gone back to sleep, because you know what? Every last one of us has gone back to sleep on some of this as well. And now it's okay to practice compassion and bring them into the positive conversation in a way that they can hear you, and to slow down and just make sure that what we are bringing to it is LOVE. Mr. Fink's favorite word, love. Because,
even though we talk about in class, never hit the snooze button again. The reality is that sometimes we hit the snooze button in life, right? We've woken up, and at least for myself, I find myself sometimes hitting that snooze button and going back to sleep from what I know to be true. But luckily, I've surrounded myself with people like Barb and Chad and Michelle and everybody on this call, who knows that it's okay to have each other's back and to wake us back up when we've hit that snooze button of life. So,
yep. And, and that's what we do exactly, Kev. Thank you. That's exactly what we do for each other. And when we're compassionate about it, again, people will be able to hear us better. So number 7, practice compassion. All right, we're moving on up to number 6. Steve, this is the one you said. Focus on the outcome. Take action on your outcome. Stop asking WTF. Somebody else had another thing for that. And start asking WTO, what is the outcome? What's the outcome? You like my number 6 there, Kev, my little skateboarder?
yeah, it's awesome. On a donut.
I love the action. And, you know, when we stop focusing on what else is going on around us and that negativity that's going on around us, and we get laser focused on what's important for us, then a lot of that just goes away. But when we let ourselves get distracted by other people's negative conversations or negative behaviors and actions, that's when we get sucked into it, and that's when it becomes a problem. But when we just stay focused on what's important to us, we don't even have to worry about that. Anything, Kev?
Nope.
Yeah, so stop asking WTF. When you find yourself asking WTF, and this is what I love about this little saying, because there are still times I ask myself WTF, and it immediately now says, ooh, what's the outcome? What am I focused on? What's getting my attention? What should be getting my attention? That is what's going to drive me forward in my life. So number 6. And we are, oh no.
Go back.
Hold on. Oops, sorry.
Wrong way. Other back.
There we go. Here it comes.
Hey.
And we are on to high 5, number 5. And when you're in a negative environment, the best thing to do is change the energy in that environment. And how do we do that? What are some ways that we can change the energy? And I would love to hear from you guys. And you're right, Tony, positive is always somewhere. Be the magnet for it. So what are some things that we can do to raise the energy? So first off, just giving somebody else a high 5. So finding something positive to focus on. Bless you, Ms. Fink. And music can be a big vibrator. So if you're in an environment where you can turn some music on and just raise the energy. So make sure it's happy music, right? Because music is one of those things that can create emotion and change energy really super easy, especially if you connect to it. So make sure it's uplifting, happy music. Maybe it's time to shift some energy and do a rock, paper, scissors tournament. Most of you know what that is. If you don't, we will be happy to tell you later what that is, but it is a vibrator. You can raise the vibe with a smile.
That's right, Christine. Yeah.
Literally smiling.
Christine just said smile, yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah. And the first vibe that you need to raise is your own. So if you feel like the energy in the environment's bringing you down, first focus on yourself. How can you raise your vibe? Because that's going to raise the vibe in the environment.
So, you know, Barb, earlier on Facebook, we both commented on a music video, right? It was a Phil Collins live performance of In the Air Tonight, right? And you commented that you always do the drum solo. So do I. I think everybody that loves that song, we just, we get into the drum solo when it happens. But I think about how that song just does exactly that. It raises the vibe. And when I'm feeling that, the beat and being silly and doing the drums, I get a smile on my face, and it does. It just absolutely changes the environment, changes the energy, and and it raises the vibe for sure.
Yeah, and you know, and singing out loud, right? That's one of my favorite vibe raisers. And I know it raises the vibe for everybody in the room with me when I sing out loud. Just kidding. Oh, Tony, you are so funny. Tony says, sing a song from Annie, a little off key. You got to laugh at that, no doubt. The sun will come out tomorrow. Yeah, I'll save everybody from that.
Thank you.
And, you know, tell a joke, right? Have a laugh. Go watch a cute video of a kitten, right? Gotta love those kitten videos. I know how much Kevin loves kitten videos. And have your go-to. So this is what I really want to cover with this. Have your go-to vibe raising things. So when you're low or the energy is low, what are those things that you go to? I mean, it might be the video that always makes you laugh. Could be that song like Kevin was just talking about. Could be walking into the bathroom and just smiling at yourself in the mirror. Whatever that is, have those go-to things so when you need them, you don't have to think about it. You just pull it out of your pocket and you have it.
You know, when I just thought of, Barb, that's the whole purpose of this momentum group, right? So go, if you need to raise your vibe and you happen to have your computer or your phone up, come to the momentum group and just scroll through it, some of the positive stuff that's there. It's another great way to just pick yourself up.
And I'm laughing at these Facebook. Crystal, of course, says puppies, because she's all about the puppies. And I think, Crystal, you missed, we talked about puppies a little bit earlier. And Christine, I'm laughing, a baby sloth. What could be cuter than a sloth? All right, so number 5. And we're going to move right on. Number 4. And I think I clicked it too many times again. I did. All right, number 4. So this is the one that is the one, again, to practice. So we have said many times, Kevin and I, that the biggest energy always prevails. So if you're in a negative environment and it's getting you down, that means that the negative energy is the biggest energy. Somebody in that environment that's bringing that negativity is the biggest energy. So now the question is, what can you do to be the bigger energy? So bringing that energy into that environment, being that person that brings the enthusiasm, brings the smile, whatever that is, being that person. And you're going to say, well, but Barb, you know, they're my boss. Okay. You can still bring the energy. It's not about telling them that they're wrong. I don't have to make that person wrong for me to bring energy and be right. And I can also be kind of the Teflon man, right? I can just let that negativity bounce right off me and I can keep my positive. Again, it's about what can we control. I don't have to buy their negativity. I can be the bigger energy. If I'm just the bigger energy for me and I let that all, Christine said it earlier, just watch it like a duck, let it roll off my back. I don't need that. You don't have to own somebody else's energy. You are only responsible for your own. And then if you can help shift some energy, that's just a value add. But the person that you need to shift energy and watch your energy is yours. That's what you're responsible for. That's accepting responsibility. Anything? All right. Number 3. Number 3.
Maybe.
Oh, it's going to go here. There we go. Number 3, look for the positive. Look for the positive. Because anytime negative shows up, what's available, Kevin?
Positive.
Positive is available. Positive. And the sooner that we start looking for the positive, the quicker that, again, we can shift what's going on in the environment. And that's important. So what are some things that we can do? again, if we don't ever look for, if we just stay stuck in the negative, we don't look for the positive, we're never going to find it. And I know some of y'all are out there saying, but there's some negative stuff that happens in my life. I am not going to debate that. I'm not. And if I stay stuck in the negative, then I'm just adding to the negative environment. If I look for what can be positive about that, whether I can learn something, whether I can create a different kind of connection for somebody, you know what? And sometimes there's some hard things in life, but there's always something that comes out of it. If I choose to look for it, if I choose to believe that I live in a universe that is actually conspiring for me instead of conspiring against me. So the one that always comes up is, okay, so somebody just died, right? That's a hard one. What do we do? How do we handle that? Where's the positive in that? And I know that it's tough because that was somebody that was important to us. And I'm not telling you that you're not going to hurt, and I'm not going to tell you that you're not going to grieve their loss. And I'm telling you that the sooner you celebrate all that that person brought to you and you focus on the positive from that relationship and what you got as it relates to that, it takes away some of the sting. And we focus on all of what we're thankful for, grateful for, and we're going to talk about that in a moment. So,
you know, Barb, right before you said that, I was just thinking about my good friend Dan Clark, whose dad just passed away this morning unexpectedly. And I called Dan right before this call, and while certainly numb from the unexpected loss, he and his family, they were having what he referred to as an Irish wake. They were at the bar, and they were celebrating his dad's life. So looking for the positive. Yeah, was he sad and numb and hurt? Of course he was. But they also were taking that time to focus on the memories and the positive, and that's the absolute right way to approach it.
You know, and I was having another conversation today with somebody that had a tragedy in their life. And we talked about the fact that when you have those kinds of circumstances, like a death or something like that, it can either bring a family together or it can tear them apart. And it really is so important to focus on what do we want, what's important, and then we get there. So I'm super happy to hear that that's what Dan was doing. And the numbness, yes. And there's going to be sadness. All of that's real. And it's okay to feel those emotions, and then it's okay to find the ones that make us feel better.
Yep.
Awesome. And number 2.
Getting close.
Here we are. It's my favorite, or at least one of my favorites. Give some hugs. If you're in a negative environment, it's pretty hard to stay negative when people are hugging. So go give some hugs, shake some hands, create some connection. And that's really what this one is about, is what is the connection? And now it's about, Tony, thank you for that. I'll address that in a sec. But give some hugs. One of my favorite things, and it is one of the most necessary things for us in this world. You know, you talk about things that are happening in the world, right? There's been some negativity, clearly, that's been happening in this world. And now so we had the shooting in the Florida school, right? And that's another one. It's like, so where's the positive in that? And the positive is, what do we do with that? How do we take what happened? It is absolutely horrible, but how do we take what happened and make it into something positive? How do we learn to make sure that we are inclusive of everybody so that we're not creating those kinds of challenges and kids feel like that's what they need to do? How are we being responsible for what's going on in our world. And if it gets our attention and we start to do something different, then that's the positive. If we gave more hugs and we were more inclusive, that's the positive that we can get out of that. So it's the fighting is never going to benefit. The thinking somebody else is wrong is never going to benefit. And it really is time to just figure out how do we love each other so we don't keep creating that kind of tragedy over and over and over again. There is a positive though, and it is now what do we do with what happened? And it's hard. It is absolutely hard. So we'll go right into number 1, which is practice gratitude. So be grateful for the things that you have right now. So if we start and think that, okay, well, I'll be happy if I get this or that. No, it's about being happy right now. What are the things in your life that are going well? And if we focus, instead of all of the negative that's going on, if we focus on what's going right, what am I grateful for? It is the quickest way to joy. It is the quickest way back to positive, is focusing on gratitude. I know this is one of your favorite topics, Kev.
Yeah, it really is. So the other day, although I wouldn't call this necessarily a negative environment, Michelle and I were getting a couples massage. Not really a negative environment. Pretty positive. But one of the things that I like to do when I'm getting massage is I use that as a time to meditate and to focus on people that I'm grateful for in my life. And what was interesting about this particular one was people that I had not thought of in a very long time started to come to my mind. And the more I thought of them, the more people came to my mind that I had not thought of in a long time. And I just thought about really the gratitude that I had for knowing and how many people I knew. And even though I was already in a great positive environment, my spirit came up, I was smiling, and it really was, for me, it was a weird kind of experience because I do practice gratitude. But it just, I don't know what it is about it, but it just has an incredible effect. And all it requires is taking that moment to focus on the people in your life that you're grateful for. It doesn't have to be people, it could be anything. But to me, it's about the people in our lives, the relationships that we have. And then that's why I choose to focus on who I'm grateful for as opposed to what I'm grateful for. And if you run out of people, then you can focus on things, but the things you should focus on are things like family and fun and experiences and memories and things like that, as opposed to the material things.
Yeah, and when we suffer some of the other kinds of tragedies that we just talked about, that becomes really clear that it's the relationships that are what I absolutely am super grateful for. So that's our 10. And while some of this conversation is tough, we know that as long as we stay looking for positive, we're going to find it. Tony said, I see positive every day at OM Stone while selling headstones. Absolutely. Because we get to really celebrate through that process, celebrate a life. And OM Stone, with the technology that they have in their glass art, it's like, wow, now we can really personalize it as well. So there's lots of different ways that we can practice positive. Things are going to happen, things out of our control. So again, what's in our control is how we respond to the negative that shows up in our life. And if we choose to be the bigger energy and choose to practice positive. So just like I say, leadership is a practice, positive is a practice. And it's recognizing when we're showing up negative or we're letting somebody else's negative energy get to us, and now choosing something different. So,
you know, Barb, something that just came to my mind while you were talking and I was thinking about gratitude. Another one for me that that can raise my vibe, and I hadn't thought about it literally till just now, is forgiveness.
That's a good one.
So in that, whatever that negative environment is, if it's something personal that makes it feel negative, focus on forgiving and letting it go. Again, that's another one of those addition by subtraction things. And really focus on forgiveness and let that then change the energy as well. So focus on forgiveness and then be grateful.
Yeah.
I hadn't really thought about that before. Just now, I was thinking. So I've got the tattoo on my arm that is about forgiveness, and I don't know. It just resonated with me in that moment.
Yeah. Anytime we can let go of stuff that doesn't benefit us, then it leaves us open, right, for all the good stuff moving forward. I love that, Kev. I love that. Christine, you are right. It is absolutely all about perspective. And the more that we can expand our perspective, here's Barb again, expand our perspective and see that people are just doing life, right? They're just having their journey. And it's okay for them to have their journey. And it's okay for us to have ours and control how we respond to what's going on. And it's all about accepting personal responsibility for how you show up in this world, making sure that you are showing up positive and you are not contributing to a negative environment, and creating exactly what you want. And I get that that's a lot of responsibility. I do. And I get that it's easy because of our programming to get sucked back in. Stay conscious, stay present, and keep choosing what you want. Keep choosing the things that will get you to your outcomes. Keep taking action. It's just critical to be able to do that. So anything else that you guys do that we've missed? Anything else that you use as a way to stay positive in any kind of negative environment, stay positive in this world? Would love, love, love anything that you have. And while you're typing that in, I'm just going to talk quickly about our High5 intensive class, because it is the class that for me will shift and really show people, give them the tools to pick positive in their life, right? Because when you walk out of that class, you're going to have more authentic and transparent relationships. You're going to have more joy in your life. At least it's available to you. You're going to have experienced it, so you know how to go get it. Be able to communicate better with people. That makes it easier, more positive. You're going to be more positive, more self-confident, take more risks, live in the moment, love yourself. All of that creates the opportunity to have and live in a more positive environment here. And the beautiful part about this is when you bring that positivity, you're impacting others. So the world that we're focused on changing at every time at High5 Leadership is our world. That's the only one we really can change. That's the one we have control over. But the beautiful part is when we show up different, the environment changes. So the environment is a reflection. And if we want something to be different, we have to choose to show up different. And choosing in that moment to show up different. So every morning before I walk into the office, how am I going to show up today? What am I bringing to my team? And then when the team shows up somewhere else, I don't have to take that and make that mine. That's theirs. So the High5 intensive is one of the best ways to do that. A lot of you know that. Most of you have graduated from one of our programs. If you know somebody that would benefit from that, my question to you is, why haven't you given them the gift of giving them the opportunity to be here? That's not saying I'm asking you to pay for their class. I'm saying, who do you know that it's that person that someday in your life, they're sitting down with you and they're saying, why didn't you tell me about this? why didn't you tell me that there was more available for me, that I could have went and had that in my life? Because I know I put it off. My boss gave me the opportunity years and years, 14 years ago, to go get me some of that. And I was like, hell no. And once I figured it out, it was like, wow, I want more of this, and I wish I would have gotten it sooner. So it's a great way to help people see something different. And as Christine said earlier, it's all about perspective. That's what that class is about. Our next public class, we have a class March 9 through 11. We still have seats available. We would love to put people in that, because it's all about helping people see something different. That's why we do what we do. And if you can help us help them, that's what we're asking for. We have a class. Hey, Dean, congratulations on your new grandbaby. We have a class May 4th through the 6th in Chicago. So we're moving to the Midwest for that particular class, and excited about that. And then we'll be back here in San Diego in September, and likely we'll be adding some additional classes. Our next Evolve class, if you are a graduate of an intensive class and you've not been through Evolve yet, this is the class for you. This is taking all of what you learned to a brand new level. April 21st and 22nd, you can reach out to either Kevin or I, and we will be happy to give you the information about that class and get you signed up. There's folks on this call that have gone through that, that will tell you how much it helped them. And our next High5 Live, stay tuned. We're looking at potentially changing the day of the week that we're going to do it. Looking to change that off to Wednesday, but we will make sure that you get the date and the topic. And if you have, again, some things that you would like us to talk about that are challenges for you, or just fun things for you that you would like to know more about, we would be happy to find out about that as well. So on a scale of 1 to 10, what we would love to know is, how valuable was what you got out of our session tonight? And you can just type us a little number in our comment section, and would love to know, if it's not a 10, what can we do to make it a 10? Because for us, it's all about giving you something of value, something that you can take into the next moment, the next day, that will help you create exactly what you want in your life. Oh, we got an 11 there, Kevin. That's
awesome.
Pretty good. Love that. Thank you.
Overachievers.
And we are always appreciate feedback. If you don't want to do it right here and you've got some other feedback for us, that's how we learn and grow. That's how we get better. And that's why we show up to do what we do, because we love you. And we love being able to bring more positive into the world. I will speak for me, and Kevin can speak for himself. When I figured out that I didn't have to be negative, and positive actually was a choice, it was pretty mind-blowing for me. And I'm just happy that I get a chance to do that. Beautiful. Thanks, Christine. You know what? That slide was just for you. I don't know which one it was, but perfect. And Charlie, I'm glad you're here. And
yeah, and type in, if you would, if you get a chance, what was most valuable tonight, right? So what made it a 10 for you tonight? What was the value that you received from being here? Because clearly we all have options on what we get to do with our time, and our focus and outcome really is to always give 10 out of 10, or in Tony's case, 11 out of 10 in value, because we can never give you back your time. But as long as you're exchanging your time for value, then you'll keep showing up, and we know we're on the right track. But if it's not a 10, we need to know that too, so we can absolutely make it a 10. But what were the things that were the most valuable for you tonight? For me, I'll just say, for me, it was that connection with forgiveness and gratitude. I had never thought about it in that sense before, but had I not spent the time here tonight, that connection would not have been made for me. So that in and of itself was a 10 for me tonight.
Yeah. And for me, it's the reminder that I'm 100% in control of how I show up in the environment and what I'm bringing to the environment as well.
Cool.
There's us. We thank you for being with us tonight. Of course, our message is always to choose joy and bring that joy into the environment. Also, know Kevin and I are always here. Most of you have tested that out, but if you haven't, if you need us, we are a text message or phone call away, and we will support you on your journey, because that's what this is about. It's the connection that we have that's important to us. We are on your team. You know how to get a hold of us, and it is absolutely my honor to be in this life, in this journey, on this journey, and in this relationship with every single one of you. And I absolutely love you.
Ditto what she said.
And we got a couple of comments here as we finished up about what people found valuable, the connection with like minds and the reinforcement. You know what, and thanks for saying that, Tony, because it is about reinforcement. And as Kevin and I said, we got value right out of preparing and doing this for you tonight, always. Christine, listen with the kids. Good. Yeah, bring the family in and create those conversations about positive, practicing that gratitude. And Crystal, yeah, reminders of how I choose. And we are at choice. So beautiful. Thank you so much for being here. We look forward to many, many more. And we'll see you on the next live.
Thanks, everybody. Good night.
Choose joy.